I would like to present my thoughts on the first picture. In this, we see that there's a light coming out of the head of a person. I interpret it as people who have a lot of ideas, lot of ideas in their head, but they do not get the opportunity to display it. So it's sort of breaking out of their head. Second thing, we can also link it to overthinking. That is a very common problem, a mental health issue in society. Regarding the second picture, we can see people in coats standing in the background, and then two people in normal clothes shaking hands. That reminds me of a concept given by Karl Marx on social inequality, proletariat and bourgeoisie. The people standing behind could be interpreted as the aristocratic class, the corrupt class, and then we could see the two people that are common people, working class, joining hands and rising, say, against the aristocratic class in response to the subjugation that they have faced. Regarding the third picture, we can see a man stealing a necklace and running. The necklace belongs to a woman that was sitting on a rickshaw. I also sort of look at it as a, say, not a very developed city that was, because we can see hand pulling rickshaws, they've long been out of fashion. So I think that scene belongs to maybe some 50, 60 years back to India. I would like to.
So I really liked your point. I found them very interesting. But I have a new view on these images.
Yes.
So the first image which showed a person with light coming out of their head, as said. So I think it can be a direct correlation to the invention of AI. Maybe it has been a major breakthrough, and that's what the image is suggesting. That's what I believe. The second image shows two people joining hands while others just look on. So I interpret it as major organizations, major companies like big AI companies who make agreements and truces behind the backs of common people. They have no say in what's going to happen because all the power is in the hand of the major companies. While the third image shows the person stealing, as you said. So I think it's a direct reflection to what's happening in today's time, the stealing of data, where people have absolutely no say. All the power is in the hands of the big companies. So that's my opinion.
Adding another perspective to the discussion, I would like to give an example that correlates all the three pictures. One of the most prevalent topics going on right now is UGC guidelines that were currently introduced. First picture, innovation, suggesting the new reforms that were introduced. The second picture directly suggests two people shaking hands while the rest of the public or the common public is being ignored, or rather is not looking onto the facts that correctly. While the third picture shows a person running away from the general public, that is when the people who presented on these reforms or suggested the reforms are running away from their actions, while the public has realized what the consequence of their actions has been on the general.
Adding another perspective to this.
When I analyzed the first image, it was about a person, and these lights were emitting out of his forehead. So I understood as the prevalent use of technological gadgets, especially our mobile phones. We use it on a continuous basis in our daily lives. We use it 24/7, even during the night time. And we use it so constantly that it has harmful effects on our brain. It leads to migraine issues, and it also leads to brain fog. Talking about the second image, where two people are shaking hands and the rest of the crowd is in an utter chaos. So the current deal between India and European Union, where our Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi and Ursula von der Leyen and Antonio Costa are coming together and doing a deal. But if I talk about India, it will reduce the tariffs and the cost of goods will be lessened. But what I feel, that will specifically cater to luxurious commodities, but the poorer section of the society will still remain in a haphazard situation, and that will not directly benefit them. Talking about the third image, where a person is stealing a necklace from a woman and the woman is on a rickshaw. So that shows the prevalence of theft and robbery that is very prevalent in our society even today.
I would like to present a new perspective about all the three images here. In the first image, I see a light coming out of the brain, and I see light as life. And a quote which I remembered was कि the quote which I remembered was, "Life doesn't come at you; it comes within you." For the second picture, I see two people shaking hands. Their body language is very stiff, and they are looking directly each other in the eyes. In a room full of people who are wearing very formal corporate attires. I think it depicted the it depicted the setting of the today's world as countries are. They are up their toes against each other, and still they are trying to break some deal within themselves so that they can thrive for the better future of themselves. For the third picture, I see a very chaotic image, which is a man stealing a necklace from a woman, which is sitting on a rickshaw puller, and it it seems very chaotic. There is one person who is running behind, and everybody clenching on their things more harder. So that depicts the anxiety that it can happen to them too. And I can see a new perspective about the third image is also about the world today. Most of the people are selfish here, and they do not want to help others, as only one man is running to retrieve the necklace. So that's my
I
perspective.
feel a different
I have
perspective that could
taken-
link. Oh, can I please? Okay, thank you. I feel a different perspective that could link all the three pictures, starting from the third one. We see the man stealing something that belonged to the woman, a necklace. I feel the prevalent theme or concept in today's world is stealing people's privacy and our thoughts being no longer our own, influenced by others. We can see this in the first picture. That person's thoughts is spilling from his brain. Influenced by others, his thoughts are no longer his own, as we can see by AI or by, say, social media. In the second picture also, like I said in my earlier point, I think exploitation is the theme here. Big corporations exploiting public for their monetary gains or their profits.
Adding my new perspective to the images presented in the so in the first image the light was coming out of the brain, so I perceived it as the new ideas, innovation, many big innovators generate new ideas from that brain. So light coming up from that, I interpreted as as new ideas. And talking about the second image, that two people are shaking hands, I interpreted the way they were looking at each other was like they were keeping their differences aside and coming together for the common goal. Like if I take example of India and China, like there are border issues between those countries, but currently they both have a common enemy, that is the United States. So they are coming together, keeping their border differences aside and coming together, increasing trade. And talking about the third image where a person was stealing the necklace, so I interpreted as the current law and order situation in India. Like there is still a lot of theft happening openly, and there is no nothing has been done to the thief.
That's a good idea, but to go back to the point from introduction that my friend gave, I completely agree with his perspective that the aristocrats are stealing from the common people, and the way I define the first picture is the middle class being known to the oppression. It is being faced from a lot of time, and it has been now being vocal because it is the oppression it was facing. It is becoming known to them now.
I would like to bring a completely different psychological perspective to all the three images that we've seen. I would like to start from the third picture. When we talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the basic needs that the triangle has, or the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the basic need that is physiological needs. So physiological needs means your food, clothing and shelter. As we saw in the third picture, a guy was snatching a chain from a woman and running in the opposite direction. So that is what the reality of the society today is. The poverty is on a rise on such a level that the people are barely able to make a livelihood to fulfill their physiological needs in the society. Let's talk about the second picture. Second picture was the second stage of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which was security and safety. So in that picture, two people were shaking hands, and that could portray us, that portrayed me in a perspective that we are moving forward towards the safety and security of the society and also as individuals in the society. Let's talk about the third picture. The third picture is the most important because it shows the highest level in the Maslow's hierarchy of need, that is the self-actualization. So when we talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and self-actualization, it is the ability of a person to be completely aware of their situations, of their differences, of their strengths, of their weaknesses, and everything that a person needs to sustain in the society in a proper and good manner. So this is the psychological perspective.
So a new perspective that I'd like to highlight, particularly in reference to the third picture where we see a man stealing from a woman. So we see in the image that the man is running after stealing something from her, but the woman still continues to sit on the rickshaw. She herself does not take an initiative to chase or to run after him to get back what has been stolen, while other people can, like a few other people can be seen chasing him. So I think it also reflects a position in our society today, where as individuals, many a times we ourselves don't take initiative when we can, and instead we choose to blame the government or people in power, while we don't make any effort to make a change ourselves. So that is something
I would like to bring another, like a kind of a spiritual perspective over here. Like the first picture that we saw, I would like to relate it to enlightenment, as light has always been related to it. And when we talk about enlightenment, what comes to my mind is the teachings by Gautam Buddha. So as we can see, I would like to be very optimistic about it and see the next picture, as my friend here also mentioned about proletariats and bourgeoisies. I think that it is a very optimistic picture, as people are actually keeping their differences aside and they are trying to live in harmony and peace and promote it as well. And also in the third picture, people are like all of you here are focusing more on the person who is stealing and not on the person who is trying to help the lady. There is another person who is trying to run after the thief that we can see in the picture. So I think that even this promotes collaboration and harmony among people, how we have to help each other to live in a society and live in peace.
To add another.
Can I please? So I combined all the three pictures and got the picture of human evolution. As in the first picture, we can see the light coming out of the human mind. So light is a symbol of hope. So with human evolution and increase in intelligence, we became more collaborative. As shown in second picture, the two people are representing the two groups in the society, and they are ready to collaborate for a greater cause. And in second picture, we also see with the improvement and in technological improvement, the society became more chaotic. The rickshaw, yes, it is an old thing, but it is also an invention. After the invention of wheel, it is something evolution. So, and yes, there is a theft also there. So actually the good and evil are both coexisting in the society. So this is about human evolution.
Adding a stat to my conclusion of the pictures, especially for the second picture, because I said the general public is being ignored and I quoted the UGC guidelines. There was recently a statement given by Mr. Amit Shah that BJP would never remove casteism or the reservations, because and if we see the current prevailing UGC guidelines that have been proposed and the stats for why they have been proposed, it is said that there were 175 cases during the tenure till 2020 for the casteism, while in the recent 5 years there has been an increase of 118% in the cases, leading to the cases around somewhere 370 or 375 to the stats. But while we look at it as a whole, seeing it as minutely, it is a very big number. 118% of increase in a certain case is a very big number. But if we see it as a whole, the main casteism that has been quoted is being done in colleges, and the universities that report to UGC come around to be 4,000 somewhere around 4,000, while the actual reports that go from universities are somewhere around 2,000. And the people or the students that conclude in these 2,000 universities somewhere come around to be 15 million to 25 million. The number of cases that have been reporting regarding people is somewhere around 300, as I just said. 300 cases on a whole, constituting of, if we say, even 20 million people is a very small number. So what I suggest is, that is why the general public is being ignored, and correlating it to the third picture, why the people who suggested such things are running away, and because there have been so many protests. As we look at the people who are running behind the person, there have been so many protests, so that is why the people are not taking
I want others to
accountability
speak
for-
very quickly.
Adding
For
my-
the
One
adding
more
my
minute.
perspective, all the three pictures are interconnected. I connect the first picture as the Indian Constitution and policies. As the eye of the person was closed, it represents the Indian Constitution, which is blindfolded, and which motive is to, if a criminal, a criminal could be get bail or removed from a punishment, but the person who is not a criminal should not be getting a punishment at any cost. And the second picture, which was connected to the UGC bill, which aims to connect general category and SC/STs, but which the aim was to connect these two communities, but the other people which are in behind are the persons which are getting ignored or which are getting community wise divided. Like the general people are getting a group of general, and the SC/STs are in the other segment. And the third picture, which is of thief stealing from a woman, is also connected as the Indian Constitution.
Adding a different perspective to the third image where a
So
man
let's
is
listen
stealing-
to you three want to speak something, then quickly then we'll come back to you.
Adding my perspective to the second image, I can conclude that I thought of as a unity between two parties, and promoting the idea of unity is strength, and united we stand and divided we fall, to promote that objective. In the third image, I can conclude that we saw a thief running away with a woman's jewelry, and the woman is only shouting for help and not taking initiative to help herself. And only we saw one man trying to help her on the chase also.
In the bringing on my perspective, in the first image, the first thought that comes to mind as soon as I saw that image was, as she said, enlightenment. I believe it is showing a person's need or a person's want to transcend beyond the trivial pursuits of life and become one with nature, following the person, as I know, Gautam Buddha's teachings. And in the second image, I believe two people are being shown shaking their hands, and some people are standing in the background with corporate suits. I believe it is being shown in the image how two people are able to set aside their differences, or able to set aside their you can say goals or their hatred for each other, because the two people in the image look very grumpy, look very not happy to be shaking hands with each other, right? So I believe it is showing the current world situation, how two countries are being forced to deal with each other, are being forced to unite with each other to fight a common foe, to fight a foe that is much greater, more powerful than them. And in the third image, I see it normally as a theft being performed in broad daylight. How it shows the current condition of theft in India, that is being performed in broad daylight. Even we know recently there have been cases in our hometown of many such robberies, and the government, the police is trying to do something about it, but it is not enough, and the robberies are still being continued, and people are yet to be reprimanded.
To the first picture, I would like to add
Exactly. Ayush, you have a point to speak?
Yeah.
Please.
For me, the interpretation of second picture, where two people are shaking hands, are calm and composed. So this calmness of them is leading them towards growth. Whereas other people we can see behind them are in so chaos, and which is somewhere leading them to their day-to-day life with no growth, right, at all. Whereas two of them are making cooperations and doing coordinations, and so they are leading themselves to growth, okay. So and the third picture, according to me, shows a person stealing a necklace of a woman, which shows that there has been a lot of pressure on
I would say poor class, they don't have money for their living, so they have to do these things, right? Whereas the women we are looking at, she is just sitting on a cart and not doing anything for herself, which shows that she is rich. So there are people for helping her, where the people who don't have money, so they have to do these all things for their living.
To the first picture, I would like to add a different perspective. We can see the light coming out of the head or the brain area of the person.
We'll have last 1 minute.
Contrast to the light, the color of his entire body was dull compared to the light. So we can interpret it that the true light or positivity that you choose to show in your life comes from the way you think, your mind, your thinking process. It doesn't depend on anything but your internal thoughts, the way you can shape your life and bring that light of positivity into your life.
To conclude, I would like to say that the three pictures can also represent the three classes in the society: the lower class, the middle class, and the upper class. Since the lower class is being forced to do things like chain snatching and extra for their daily completing their daily amenities as well, and the middle class is being forced to cooperate between the both classes so that they can live in peace and harmony. And as well as and in the last picture, upper class is above all and living in the most peace, so it has a
Thank you.
state in which mind.
Let's close it.